development is tough, and the industry is riddled with failures. In fact, a 2017 report put out by the Project Management Institute said that 44% of software projects fail. And so I wanted to offer you all some pieces of information around how to reduce that risk and go through the many ways that you can actually build an app. The software industry has failures for two main reasons, and one is that software is inherently hard to build. It's not real. It's not like a house. And so I will make some construction analogies to like building a skyscraper, and it's true, but it doesn't completely hold. And what makes it really hard is like if a house is not going very well, you can sort of see it as it progresses. Whereas software, it's not so transparent. The second reason is like, unlike house building, which we've been doing for hundreds of thousands of years, software really has been done commercially, sort of on a place where anyone could start a project for less than 30 years. So it's a relatively immature industry. And so that means that the processes aren't the best. And a lot of the people who are in it come from a software background as opposed to like a business background, and that can lead to issues. And so what I wanted to go through here in this multi-part series are the many different ways that you can get an app developed. And they'll sort of be in order from my preference based on personal experience. But as with everything, the context of your app will matter as to which choice is best for you. So let's start with like the easiest, most straightforward case. And the best way to get an app developed, at least this is for new apps, is if you know someone who you trust and have a pre-existing relationship with. So like if you have a friend, a cousin, an aunt who does app development, that is the best place to start. That is the best place to have those conversations. The reason is because the number one issue that you have to have, or the number one quality of a great developer, is there has to be a trust with that person. So the relationship has to be built on trust, and if you already trust this person, it makes it much easier. Also, if this person's main job is, say, working at Google or Amazon, then usually that they're really interested in helping you and should be able to give you better advice or shepherd you through the process, because again, they're not trying to sell you anything. Again, you're coming to them. And lastly, they should be cost effective. Again, we're talking about new projects here, but if it's a small project and you're looking to get validation and launch something, someone you trust should, in theory, be able to give you the best bang for your buck. But there are cons here, and a lot of the cons come from the informality that makes the relationship great, also can be a hindrance. And so especially in cases where you're having someone help you but you're not paying them, it's like an equity only deal or a nights and weekends type deal and there's no compensation, those deals typically go south. They start out with good intentions, the person wants to help you, but here after about 4 to 6 weeks the person realizes like, oh, I code for my day job, I don't want to be coding on the weekends for free or for equity. And so what happens is eventually they will start the project, but they won't finish it. And usually it leaves sort of a sour taste in your mouth because it'll just slowly fade away and your initial momentum will sort of die. And then also software developers, if they've never actually launched a project from start to finish, they underestimate things. And so everything is simple to a software developer. You give them an idea and you say, hey, well, you could build that, right? You work for Google. Yeah, no problem. 2 weeks. And maybe to get the first 20% takes 2 weeks, but then the next 80% will take 14 weeks. And they don't really know that. And also, if you run the numbers, most of our apps that we're doing that are like high quality startup apps where we're building out everything take 1,000 hours. So if someone's putting in 20 hours a week, do the math. It's going to take them at least a year. And I promise you, with other commitments and when the weather starts getting nice, they're not going to want to put in 20 hours per week. So you're looking at a 2-year process to get your app launched. It's going to be way slower. Your momentum will die out. So again, you got to watch out for that. And then lastly, you got to watch out for the golden hammer experience, which is if the software developer you talk to does XYZ technology during their day job, that's the one they're going to try to use for your project, regardless if it works or not. They're just going to try to use it because they're most familiar with it. So again, I recommend this path. So how do we make this work? Number one is just get ahead of those commitment issues. I believe any arrangement can work as long as it's built on transparency. So just be straight up with people. Say, hey, Sally, I want your help on this app. I'm hoping that we can try this out for 2 to 4 weeks. Here's what I'm willing to compensate you with. And here's the work I've done ahead of time. And that's the next point, which is really make sure that you do your work first. Do your homework before you go and talk to people about your idea. Make sure you have it scoped out properly. Make sure you have it designed. You really want to make sure that you take care of doing your part first before you go out and try to get it built. Because again, how to build it is secondary to like what exactly to build. And then lastly, I would say if you pursue this path, make sure you have multiple paths forward to really help in any situation. So if you're working with Sally and it works out great, awesome. Have her do the entire app, and that's great. But if it doesn't, and things start to slow down, make sure you have a contingency. So make sure you're talking to other freelancers, other developers, and just make sure that all of your hopes and dreams aren't on one person who maybe this isn't their full-time job. So anyways, hope this helps. And if you don't have a friend who you can trust, I would love to be yours. So please shoot me a DM. And if not, please like and comment. And next we'll talk about freelance developers.